Do you want to see Joe Biden run for a second term?
She's got to go.
Yeah,
That's an easy question. That's not going to take long. Do you want to see Joe Biden run?
I don't want to answer that question because we have not. I don't want to answer that question.
Okay.
I mean, he's the president and he has the right to run for a second term. Absolutely.
But
I don't want to. I'd rather you not do that answer.
You got like 2 minutes to be in the car.
Yeah, I know. I got to get to the.
Well, thanks very much.
The other thing.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. What a deer in the headlights moment for Cori Bush, as she was asked point blank about whether or not she believes that Joe Biden should run for president again in 2024, and she refused to answer, which signals that the word on the street, the word on the DC streets and in the mainstream liberal media, that a significant amount of the Democrat Party does not want to see Joe Biden run again is true. Now, it should come as no surprise that progressives don't want to see Joe Biden run again, because they feel that Joe Biden is not progressive enough, right? That is why she's saying that. She's not saying that she doesn't want to see Joe Biden run again because, he's being too progressive, or he's spending too much money, or he's been too soft on crime, or the border's too open. It's none of that stuff, right? They feel like he's not, again, being progressive enough. He's not spending enough money. He's not letting enough illegal immigrants in the country. He's not being softer on crime. That is where her opinion is coming from, okay? So therefore, she wants him out. However, the problem is that these progressives are not in touch with the American people, whom have showed us in polls that they believe the problem with Joe Biden is that he is doing a terrible job on the economy, mainly gas prices and inflation. Two areas where, one, the Democrat Party has no answers for, and you could argue that because of progressive policies, we're in the position that we are when it comes to those issues, right? Spending too much money, inflation, gas prices, having something to do with Biden being woke on climate, right? Which is exactly what the progressives support, okay? So that being said, the writing is on the wall, as allegedly only 10% of Democrat primary voters believe that Joe Biden is not being progressive enough, okay? This is something that AOC and the squad would realize if they were actually in touch with reality. However, for them, they're not in touch with reality, so therefore they don't realize that, right? And them being out of touch with reality is starting to affect them in the wallet, as apparently they're having some issues raising money, okay? Their fundraising is kind of running dry, right? And this is a stark contrast from the progressive movement that we saw that led to people like AOC and Cori Bush being elected in the first place, in which these candidates were raising massive amounts of money from the woke revolutionaries across the country, right? But again, it seems like the money has run out, and there's some issues going on here, right? So let's actually read about this. The Green New Deal may be in red. Progressives locked in tough primaries across the state posted abysmal fundraising numbers in their quarterly disclosure forms, suggesting grassroots energy on the far left continues to wane. The data shows that even the blessing of squad leader, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, has failed to move the needle. Quote, people are just tired of them. They look around and see increased crime, more chaos, and they blame the progressives for it, said veteran Democrat strategist Hank Shankoff, who cautioned that in low turnout August elections, the winner will be whoever has the best ground game to turn out supporters. With a month to go before the Democrat primaries, progressive candidates are finding themselves strapped for cash. In the new 17th district, which stretches along the Hudson Valley from the tip of Greenburgh all the way to East Fishkill, incumbent Representative Sean Patrick Maloney hauled in $826,528. The powerful boss of the Democrat Congressional Campaign Committee will head into the last stretch of the race with more than $2.5 million in the bank. His progressive opponent, State Senator Alessandra Biaggi, netted only $257,437 during the same period. The likely GOP nominee, Assemblyman Mike Lawler, also trounced Biaggi in fundraising, taking in $353,874, records show. Representative Jamal Bowman, despite the advantages of his incumbency, also came up short to his chief primary opponent, Westchester County legislator Virat Gashi. Bowman's second quarter haul of $255,828 trailed Gashi's $301,366. The wealthy district just south of the 17th includes much of Westchester County. Bowman has around $100,000 less cash on hand than Gashi heading into the home stretch. Both Bowman and Bigatti have been endorsed by AOC and a litany of other progressive activist organizations. Okay, so I just want to remind you guys real quick who Jamal Bowman is. He is the simp of the squad, but he's more importantly a massive hypocrite who supports deeply unpopular policies.
Yes, I support the reallocation of resources from NYPD towards more social services.
A Yonkers detective tells the New York Post Congressman Jamal Bowman had officers patrol his New York home for 2 weeks. Bowman had officers guard his home despite tweeting, "Policing has a white supremacy problem."
These woke candidates, right, these progressives, have been endorsed by AOC. However, they're having some issues raising money. Quote, you have to look at where progressives raise money. It's all online. It's digital. It's social. You burn those lists so quickly, said one senior Democratic House staffer. It's a saturation of people going to the same folks in the same place every time and asking. Ding, 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 ding. So what happens is that these guys, right, instead of actually, being in their districts, right, which we're about to talk about right here, they focus more on being social media stars, being social influencers online. And because of that, they don't have much of a presence in their home districts, which makes it harder for them to actually really raise money. Okay, so they're struggling. They're struggling heavily to raise money for various reasons, right? I think the first reason is that they're not actually really involved in their communities like they should be. The second reason is that people just don't agree with their policies, right? I think people are tired of progressive policies running these liberal cities. And because of those two things, the left is starting to realize that AOC is a con artist, right? As she's getting some backlash from a New York State senator who's calling her out about her antics. And I want to play this clip real quick before I get into this, just to remind you guys that AOC is getting called out after her little stunt in which she got arrested, okay, when she faked being handcuffed. During her Instagram response to critics calling her out about being fake arrested, she basically said, "I know who got my back," right? Implying that her supporters and her people got her back. Take a look.
Republicans' favorite hobby is to make conspiracy theories out of everything to distract you and keep you from talking about what's actually important, which is the fact that they are trying to take away your right to bodily autonomy. If I was faking that, why would I intentionally fist pump somebody? It's so silly. I have a feeling that my community is going to have my back on this one.
Again, I just want you guys to keep that in mind as I read this. The knives are out on the woke left this week as one of its most prominent divas is catching shade from a bold new up-and-comer. The delicious drama pits Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez against New York State Senator Jessica Ramos. The sniping began when a medical student took to Twitter to condemn members of AOC staff who skipped a meeting with prominent medical academics with a divisive quote, "We're not doing healthcare right now." AOC dutifully apologized, saying the missed meeting did not represent her or her values. Okay, this is interesting because this is just one of a number of times that AOC has been called out on skipping meetings that she's supposed to show up to. Like, for example, there was a union rally when Amazon workers in New York were trying to unionize. AOC promised to be there. However, when it came time to actually be there to show up, she decided not to and instead went to the Met Gala, right? She went to the Met Gala instead. AOC decides not to show up to this event right here with these medical academics, okay? But instead, she went to this pro-choice rally in which she pretended to get arrested in an effort to raise money, right? Again, AOC is getting called out for the obvious, which is that she is in fact a con artist and people are tired of the stunts in the game. Because at the ultimate end of the day, she's one of the most least effective legislators in Congress. She's actually not doing her job. She's terrible at her actual job. She's excellent at flexing on Instagram, but she's terrible at actually legislating, and people are catching on to this stuff. Quote, maybe if you spent more time in your office and with your team, you know what goes on. Just saying, it would be nice if you breathed our air. Ramos jab. Our district officers are on the same floor, in the same building. She barely ever present in the community. It's an undisputable fact. Wow. So her staff won't meet with healthcare experts. She won't meet with union organizers. She kills jobs in her community. And according to Ramos, she wasn't quite done castigating her victim. AOC won't even sit down with local leaders and politicians. This has to leave her constituents and all New Yorkers asking of Ocasio-Cortez, what exactly would you say you've done around here? Well, nothing, right? AOC has done absolutely nothing, okay? And this is why people are pushing back against these woke progressive politicians like AOC, either in the form of taking direct shots at her on Twitter or not sending her money anymore, right? People have caught on to the game, right? AOC has been in Congress for what, 4 years or something like that now? And what has she done? What major legislation has she helped lead or pass? None. And I'm glad that she's a complete failure, right? Because I don't agree with any of her policies. But I'm just saying, from a certain perspective, it's like, again, what have you actually accomplished? All you do is raise money and flex on social media. You don't actually do your job, and people are catching on. People are not stupid. And again, that's showing up in the fact that they can't raise money the way they used to, right? These progressives used to be fundraising powerhouses, okay? They were raising money left and right, okay, through grassroots support. Now, they're struggling. Again, they're struggling because people are like, why should I keep sending money to you when you're not doing anything, right? You're not accomplishing anything, okay? Again, this is what happens when you focus more on PR and being an Instagram influencer than actually doing your job as a legislator. This is exactly what happens. People catch on and they call you out for what you really are, which is a con artist. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.